I used to believe in perfect lives. Mine seemed like one straight out of a Pinterest board. A beautiful 3-bedroom house in suburban Chicago. A loving husband with a rising career in tech. A baby girl growing inside me, already 7 months along. I even had the Instagram following to prove it. 30,000 people who double-tapped every picture of my seemingly perfect life. But perfection, as I've learned, is just a filter we put on our mistakes. My name is Emma Thompson, and this is the story of how I almost lost everything. Jack and I met 3 years ago at a startup conference in downtown Chicago. He was presenting about AI innovations. I was there managing social media for the event. The moment he walked off stage, still buzzing with adrenaline from his speech, he crashed right into me. My phone went flying, his coffee spilled everywhere, and somehow in that mess, we both started laughing. That's the thing about Jack, he could always make me laugh. Even on my worst days, he knew exactly how to bring out my smile. We got married 18 months later in a Pinterest-worthy barn wedding. Everyone said we were perfect together. The tech genius and the social media maven. We bought our house in Oak Park last year. A beautiful Victorian with a wraparound porch and enough room for the family we dreamed of starting. When I found out I was pregnant, Jack cried. Actually cried. He kissed my stomach every morning before leaving for work. Played classical music for the baby at night. Started reading parenting books during his lunch breaks. Everything was perfect. Until it wasn't. The first crack appeared 6 months into my pregnancy. I was having trouble sleeping, tossing and turning while Jack snored peacefully beside me. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. Just a casual notification, probably work-related. But something made me reach for it. Call it pregnancy hormones or intuition. I knew his password, our wedding date. What I found made my heart stop. A secret Reddit account. Messages to Instagram models. Comments on explicit subreddits that made me feel sick. Pictures saved that I wished I could unsee. I sat there in the dark, scrolling through months of digital betrayal. Jack stirred beside me, and I quickly put his phone back. The next morning, I acted normal. Made his favorite breakfast. Kissed him goodbye. Then spent an hour crying in the shower. I told myself it wasn't real cheating. Just pixels on a screen. Fantasy, not reality. Besides, I was 7 months pregnant. What was I supposed to do? Start a fight? Risk our marriage? Risk our baby's health with that kind of stress? So I stayed quiet. Buried the hurt. Focused on preparing for our daughter's arrival. That's when Luke messaged me on Facebook. Hey stranger, long time no see. Such an innocent message. If only I'd known then what it would lead to. Luke Carter had been my best friend growing up. Our families spent every summer together at Lake Michigan. He was the boy who taught me to swim. Who helped me build sandcastles. Who knew all my secrets. We'd lost touch after high school when he moved to California. But here he was, popping up in my messages like no time had passed. You look amazing, Em. Pregnancy suits you. I shouldn't have replied. Should have left it at a simple thanks. But Jack was working late again. I was lonely. And Luke remembered things about me that even Jack didn't know. Like how I used to be afraid of thunderstorms. How I'd sneak chocolate chips from my mom's baking drawer. How I once broke my arm trying to do a cartwheel off his parents' deck. We started talking every day. Just catching up at first. He told me about his divorce. How his ex-wife had cheated on him. How he was struggling to trust again. I told him about my pregnancy. The weird cravings. The back pain. The insomnia. But I didn't tell him about Jack's secret Reddit life. Not at first. That came later, after a particularly lonely night. Jack was at a conference in Seattle. I was home alone, feeling our baby kick. Luke was just a text away. "Can I tell you something?" I typed. "Anything," he replied instantly. So I told him everything. About finding Jack's phone. The messages. The pictures. How I felt so betrayed but couldn't say anything. Luke was sympathetic. Understanding. Angry on my behalf. "You deserve better, Em," he wrote. "Someone who appreciates what they have." It felt good to finally tell someone. To have my feelings validated. I didn't notice then how Luke's messages started changing. How they became more frequent. More personal. "I think about you all the time," he'd text. "Remember that summer when we almost kissed?" I should have stopped it there. Should have set boundaries. But the attention felt good. Made me feel desirable again. Not just a pregnant woman whose husband looked at other women online. Luke sent me a photo one night. Him at the gym, shirtless. "Still keeping in shape," he wrote. I knew I should have ignored it. Instead, I sent back a laughing emoji. That's when things started to spiral. He began sending more photos. Each one more suggestive than the last. Asked for photos in return. "Just like old times," he'd say. "Our little secret." I said no at first. Told him I was married. Pregnant. But Luke knew exactly what to say. How to make me feel special. Wanted. And one night, after Jack fell asleep watching Netflix beside me, I sent Luke a photo. Nothing explicit. Just me in my pregnancy workout clothes. But it crossed a line. A line I couldn't uncross. "You're beautiful, Em," Luke replied. "Jack doesn't deserve you." That's how it started. One photo led to another. Each time, Luke would ask for more. Promised to delete them right away. I believed him. Trusted him. What a fool I was. The guilt started eating at me. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Every time Jack touched my growing belly, I felt like a fraud. Every time he kissed me goodbye, I wondered if he could taste the lies on my lips. But I couldn't stop. Luke had become like a drug. His messages gave me a high that temporarily masked the pain of Jack's betrayal. Until the day everything changed. I was at my 7-month checkup when Luke's message came through. "We need to talk." My heart stopped. Those words are never good. I waited until I got home to reply. Sat on our perfect porch swing. Stared at our perfect garden. And opened a message that would shatter my perfect lie. "I still have all your photos, Em." My hands started shaking. "What do you mean?" "You said you deleted them." I lied. 3 words that made my world collapse. "I need you, Emma. More than Jack does." "What are you talking about?" "Send me more photos. Real ones this time. Or Jack might find out about our little chats." I threw up in the garden. Right there between the hydrangeas I'd planted when we first moved in. Morning sickness had nothing on this feeling. This was pure terror. My phone kept buzzing. Message after message from Luke. each one more demanding than the last. I sat there, surrounded by the perfect life I'd built. The porch swing Jack had installed himself. The garden we'd planned together. The nursery window above, already decorated in soft pink and gray. All of it suddenly felt like a house of cards, ready to collapse with one wrong move. That's when I felt her kick. My baby girl. Strong and steady. Reminding me that this wasn't just about me anymore. I had to fix this. Somehow. But as I sat there, watching the sun set over our perfect suburban street, I had no idea how. Or that things were about to get so much worse. The next few weeks became a blur of anxiety and fear. Luke's messages grew more frequent, more demanding. Every buzz of my phone made my heart race. I started having panic attacks in the middle of Target, in the grocery store, even at my baby shower. Sarah, my next-door neighbor, noticed first. She caught me crying in my car one afternoon. Just sitting there, hands gripping the steering wheel. "Emma," she knocked on my window. "Are you okay?" I wasn't okay. Hadn't been okay for weeks. Sarah was a therapist. Maybe that's why I finally broke down. Told her everything. About Jack's Reddit account. About Luke's messages. About the photos. The blackmail. She listened without judgment. Made me tea in her kitchen while her kids were at school. "You're in an abusive situation," she said finally. "Luke is manipulating you." I knew she was right. But knowing didn't make it easier. "What about Jack?" I asked. "He deserves to know the truth." Sarah nodded slowly. "He does. But right now, we need to focus on protecting you." She helped me document everything. Luke's initial friendly messages. The progression to flirting. The photos he'd demanded. The threats. "This is sexual harassment," she said. "We can go to the police." But I was too scared. What if Luke released everything anyway? What if Jack found out from a police report? What if I lost everything? Meanwhile, Jack noticed something was wrong. How could he not? I'd become a shadow of myself. Jumping every time my phone buzzed. Crying over little things. Not sleeping. He tried to help in his own way. Brought me prenatal vitamins. Made sure I ate regularly. Started coming home earlier from work. One night, he held me as I cried. Didn't ask why. Just held me. And I almost told him everything. Almost. But then Luke sent another message. A screenshot of our earlier conversations. "Miss me, Em?" I rushed to the bathroom. Threw up again. When Jack knocked on the door, concerned, I blamed it on morning sickness. "At 7 months?" he asked. "It happens," I lied. Another lie to add to my growing collection. Sarah suggested I block Luke's number. Delete my social media accounts. Go dark, she said. Take away his power. So I did. Blocked him everywhere. Deleted Facebook. Instagram. Snapchat. For 3 days, I felt free. Then the email came. From a random address. But I knew it was Luke. Playing hard to get, Em? Attached were all my photos. All our conversations. Would Jack like to see these? I printed everything. Took it to Sarah. She read through it all. Made notes. Called a lawyer friend. This is serious, Emma, she said. We need to take action. But I was frozen, paralyzed by fear. My baby kicked inside me. Strong. Constant. A reminder of everything I stood to lose. That night, Jack tried to make love to me. I couldn't. Made excuses about being tired. Uncomfortable. He kissed my forehead. Said he understood. His kindness made everything worse. The next day, Luke sent Jack a friend request on Facebook. I saw it pop up on Jack's phone during dinner. Nearly choked on my pasta. "Hey, isn't that your childhood friend?" Jack asked. Casual. Innocent. No idea of the bomb about to explode. "Don't accept it," I said too quickly. Jack looked surprised. "Why not?" "Just don't. Please." He put his phone down. Studied my face. "Emma, what's going on?" I couldn't meet his eyes. "Nothing. We're not friends anymore." Another lie. Jack didn't press. But I saw the worry in his eyes. The questions. That night, I lay awake listening to him breathe. Wondering how many more nights like this we had left. How long before Luke got tired of waiting. Before he pressed send. Before my perfect life imploded. Sarah kept telling me to come clean. "Tell Jack on your terms," she said. "Before Luke takes that choice away." But every time I tried, the words stuck in my throat. How do you tell your husband you betrayed him? That you let another man manipulate you? That you were weak? Stupid? That you might have ruined everything? Luke's messa. Guess became more erratic. Sometimes threatening. Sometimes apologetic. Sometimes declaring his love. We could be together, Em. Leave Jack. We were meant to be. I saved everything. Documented it all. Like Sarah taught me. But I still couldn't act. Couldn't move. Then came the night that changed everything. Jack was working late again. I was alone, trying to assemble the crib. My phone buzzed. A video message from Luke. My hands shook as I pressed play. It was old footage. From those summers at Lake Michigan. Luke and me as teenagers. Swimming. Laughing. His voice came through, slurred. Drunk. "Remember how perfect we were? Before you chose him? I never stopped loving you, Em." The video kept playing. More footage I didn't even know existed. Years of summers. Years of friendship. All twisted now. Poisoned. I sat there on the nursery floor. Surrounded by half-assembled crib parts. Watching my past play out on a tiny screen. And something inside me snapped. This wasn't just about me anymore. Not just about Jack. This was about our daughter. The life growing inside me. She deserved better than this. Better than a mother paralyzed by fear. Better than a life built on lies. I called Sarah. It was nearly midnight. She answered on the first ring. "I'm ready," I said. "Ready for what?" "To tell Jack everything." "Are you sure?" I looked around the nursery. At the pink walls Jack had painted. The rocking chair he'd restored. The tiny clothes waiting in drawers. "Yes," I said. "I have to. Do you want me to come over?" I did. But I shook my head. No. This is something I need to do alone. I hung up. Took a deep breath. And typed out a message to Jack. Can you come home? We need to talk. Jack came home within 30 minutes. Found me sitting in the dark nursery. Emma? What's wrong? His voice was full of concern. I could barely see him through my tears. I need to tell you something. He sat down beside me on the floor. Among the scattered crib parts, our baby kicked, as if sensing the tension. Whatever it is, he said, we'll figure it out. If only he knew. I started with his Reddit account. Watched his face fall. Saw the shame creep in. I'm so sorry, he whispered. It wasn't real. Just stupid fantasy. I know, I said. But that's not everything. Then I told him about Luke. Every detail. The messages. The photos. The blackmail. Jack sat silently. His breathing getting heavier. Hands clenched into fists. When I finished, the silence was deafening. Say something, I pleaded. Please. He stood up. Walked to the window. Stared out at our quiet suburban street. How could you? He finally asked. His voice broke on the last word. I was lonely, I said. Heard about the Reddit stuff. And Luke, he knew exactly what to say. Jack turned to face me. I expected anger. Rage. Instead, I saw tears. I failed you. He said. What? I got so caught up in work. In stupid online stuff. I forgot to really see you. I reached for him. He let me take his hand. We both messed up, I said. But Luke. Jack's grip tightened. Has he released anything? No. Not yet. But he's threatening to. Jack pulled out his phone. Showed me Luke's friend request. Is that why? I nodded. He's been drinking. Sending old videos. Getting more unstable. Jack started pacing. His tech brain working. We need to document everything. Already done, I said. Told him about Sarah. The lawyer. He listened. Nodded. Good. That's good. Then he stopped. Looked at me. Do you have feelings for him? No, I said immediately. God, no. It was never about that. I was just weak. Jack sat back down beside me. We're both weak, he said. But we don't have to be. He pulled me close. I breathed in his familiar scent. I'm so sorry, I whispered. Me too, he said. For everything. We sat there in the dark. Among the pieces of our daughter's crib. Broken but not shattered. My phone buzzed. We both tensed. Another message from Luke. I miss you, Em. Think about you every night. Jack read it over my shoulder. His jaw clenched. Enough, he said. Took my phone. Started typing. What are you doing? Ending this. He showed me the message. Luke, this is Jack. Emma told me everything. We have documented all your harassment. Stop now, or we go to the police. My heart raced as he hit send. Seconds felt like hours. Then Luke replied. She's lying to you, man. Ask her about the videos. About what she really sent me. Jack didn't even blink. We're done here. Last warning. Luke's response was immediate. A barrage of messages. Threats. pleading, accusations. Jack blocked him everywhere. Then looked at me. We should go to the police. I nodded. Tomorrow. First thing. He helped me stand. My legs were shaking. What happens now? I asked. Now, he said, we rebuild. Together? Together. He placed his hand on my belly. Our daughter kicked. Strong. Steady. Like a heartbeat. A new beginning. We spent that night talking. Really talking. About everything. His Reddit addiction. My insecurities. The distance that had grown between us. By morning, we had a plan. First, the police. Then couples therapy. Individual counseling. No more secrets. No more lies. As the sun rose over our suburban street, Jack assembled the crib. I watched him work. Methodical. Focused. Building something new from scattered pieces. Just like us. Sarah called to check on me. I put her on speaker. Let her talk to both of us. She cried when I told her about Jack's response. That's what real love looks like, she said. Not perfect. But real. Later that day, we filed a police report. Changed our phone numbers. Email addresses. Started fresh. Luke Tr. IED to reach out through mutual friends. We shut it down. Every time. Together. Months passed. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday morning. Perfect and healthy. We named her Hope. Because that's what she gave us. A reason to fight. To heal. To become better. Not perfect. But better. End.